Welcome you lot, this is Match Media and we're here today to give you the ultimate guide in winter elastic choice. So, what do I choose, why do I choose it, and what kind of fishermen are using it for? Let's jump in and have a look in a bit more detail. So most of my fishing is based around commercial fisheries, match fishing, obviously some filming sessions and things like that, but it ranges from fishing really light for silvers and for everything that swims this time of year with it being so cold, largely around kind of F1s, you know, sort of 6 ounce silvers, 6-8 ounce silvers, up to kind of 2 pound F1s. That's a big bread and butter of where I'm fishing as well. And then sometimes as well with places that I fish like Old Huff, it's proper carp, it's more carpy based, in which case we need to just step things up a little bit more for those kind of fish, because even though bites aren't as fast, aren't as frequent, they're still big fish, you know, 6 pound, 8 pound. So it's making sure that I take the things with me on the bank that I need on the day, and I choose the right setup, the right elastic for the right kind of fishing that I'm doing on that day. So the first thing I want to talk about is the MAP TKS hybrid elastic range, and you can just see it. You can see it here, and these are the 3 grades that I use the most. Now we also do a hollow range in this TKS range as well, which if you want something that is super soft, that's brilliant. It stretches forever and it's absolutely fantastic. For me personally, I really like the hybrid just because you've got the initial softness of the hollow that we do, but then it powers up just a little bit more. So this time of year when the fish are really docile, you've still got that real softness as soon as you hook the fish, and it allows the fish just to run a little bit. But then obviously it means that it powers up really quickly, so it just means that you get the fish under control nice and fast. And obviously when you're match fishing, it's not rushing fish into the net, but you want everything to be soft enough so that you don't pull the hook out and balanced, but also you want to get the fish under control quickly, get that net underneath it, and obviously get it unhooked, get it in the keep net, and back out again looking for your next fish. So for me, the hybrid TKS range is absolutely perfect for that. It just gives you that flexibility and kind of the best of both worlds really, between a hollow, which will stretch forever, and obviously a solid, which is a little bit more pingy. Okay, so the hybrid elastic for me. So which grades do I choose for what kind of fishing that I'm doing and why? So I'm going to kind of start on the lightest side of things really. Now obviously there's more in the range than what you can see here. It does go even finer, which is perfect for things like canals and stuff like that, which I do fish. But for the main body of my fishing, these are kind of the 3 winter elastics that I use. So I'm going to start with the lightest one first. So what I start with first is the 6 to 8. So I'm just going to show you that there. This is it's a fantastic elastic, this. I put it in my match kits essentially, and this is what I use for everything that swims. Fish up to, generally speaking, up to kind of 1.5 pounds. Now it does a lot more than that, if I'm honest. I'll show you a quick clip here now of a fish I had about 5.5 pound on this actual elastic on the 6 to 8. So it will do that, and in the match kits, especially with the puller kits that you've got as well. But it's just, you know, for the main body of use essentially is, you know, anything that swims up to kind of 1.5 pounds. Once it starts to get a bit bigger than that, again, I want to land those fish quickly in a match situation. So obviously I'd up the elastic if I'm catching fish that are going up towards the 2 pound mark. So the 6 to 8, I use it in the match kits that you can see here. These are absolutely fantastic. These in the full length as well, so I'm not using like a shortened down version. It's in the full length, so the 6 to 8 right the way through the full length, and obviously it's on a puller kit as well. Okay, as you can see there. It just means if you've hooked something a little bit bigger, you've got that absolute control the whole time. It's so important to have that control. So in terms of the other end, there's a few different camps with this here. You can see on some of my videos the different kind of ways in which to attach your rig to your elastic. So there's Stofo connectors, there's Dacron connectors, there's Dacrons I sometimes make myself, which are super short, which are not my idea. Credit to the other people that have done that, but they're really good, especially if you're not out fishing much. If you're you know, if you buy your elastic and you pleasure angler, you're going once a week maybe, you can keep it in your top kits for quite some time, as long as you look after it and there's no erosion from that small Dacron. For me personally, I like to attach it straight to the elastic, and again you can see a separate video on this. So I just use a nice bead there, and like attaching a Dacron, I loop the rig over the top of there and on the knot, and then obviously I just pull that bead over the end like so. Okay, and then the loop in the rig, it just kicks the rig out a little bit slightly, so it stops it from wrapping around my the top of the kit. But there you go, that's the match kit. That's the 6 to 8 elastic. So forgiving. It's absolutely fantastic. And you know, I used to use things like a solid number 6, which is still really good, but this just gives me a little bit more versatility, which is what I want when I'm out fishing for these smaller fish. So then, fish that are a bit bigger, like I just said, once you get to kind of 1.5 pounds up to 2 pounds, I want to be landing those fish quicker, but I also want that same kind of softness as soon as I hook the fish, and also the control. So I tend to do the next 2 grades of elastic. I take both of these, I take all 3 with me, to be fair, but for these next 2, I put them in normal top kits, normal length top kits, and also in the short, shallow one-piece kits as well. And I'll go into why shortly. So you've just seen the match kit there. I've got 2 versions of the short kits here, the TKS short kits. So firstly, the grades of elastic. So the 8 to 10, this does most of my winter fishing essentially. If I'm going to somewhere that I've never fished before and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to catch, I'll probably start on this elastic, to be fair, because won't bump tiny little fish off. You can catch fish of 1 ounce on this elastic, and it is absolutely brilliant. Like I said, it is so forgiving as soon as you hook the fish, but it'll land fish really comfortably up to 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds this time of year especially, no problems whatsoever. And like I say, I take that in both the short kits and in the full length kits as well. And then also is the 10 to 12. So this is where I step it up for the same kind of size fish that I just talked about. If I'm up against a feature, so if I'm up against like a snag or something like that, once I hook the fish, I just need to ship back quickly. If it's reeds on a feature or a far bank or an island, and it just gives you that little bit more kind of backbone, a little bit more to be able to pull that fish away from those danger areas. But then I also use it in open water as well for, like I said before, bigger fish, anything that, you know, up to kind of 8 pounds or so. When there's fishing, you know, commercial venues where it's not so maybe F1 kind of bait, but more carpy bait like at Old Huff. So I move up to this elastic for that. So why do I carry them both in short kits and in long kits? It's basically so, even though the elastic stretches really well, in a long kit there's more of it, so it stretches further essentially, which is fine. You know, if I'm fishing in open water and I'm catching fish around the 2 pound mark on the green elastic, the 8 to 10, it just means that with there being more of it in the top kit, I have to pull more out. Essentially, I have to strip more off to get that fish ready for netting, and obviously when it does net, it's that little bit further away from you because the top kits are longer, the full top kits. The benefit of the short kit is it only takes 1 pull generally, maybe 2 at the very most, and because they're only 6 foot long, it just means that as soon as that fish is in front of you, you can lift up, it pops up, you can get the net under it nice and quick. And again, it just makes things more efficient from match perspective, which is really important, because, you know, the minutes count when you're fishing in a 5-hour match and the clock is ticking. It's also really useful, like I said before, I touched on it, fishing up to features. So if I'm catching if I'm on the green elastic, the 8 to 10, even if I'm catching fish that are up to 2 pound in weight up against a feature, I can switch from the long kit in the same elastic to the short one. It just means I've still got that softness of the 8 to 10, but with it being in the short kit, it powers up quicker with it being the hybrid elastic, and that just means that with the in the short kit, that just happens faster, that process happens a lot quicker, and then it means I can ship back, the fish is completely under control. As it then swims around and tires itself out in the deep water, again, it just takes that couple of pulls, 1, 2, up, and it's in the net straight away. So I do sometimes switch between the 2 different kits. If I want to power things up a bit quicker, I use the short kits. If I'm not so fussy about it and we don't need to have that situation, then obviously I can use the long kits. So it's not just about changing your grades of elastic, it's also about potentially looking at 2 different lengths, from full top kit to short top kit, to see what's going to suit the situation that you'll happen to be in on the day, because you never know. And like I said, I'm fortunate enough to have enough with me, and I take them both. And again, it just makes it easy. You can just pop a rig on one of each if you want to do that. If you're the kind of angler that if you haven't got loads and loads of rig tied up, you can have your rig on the 8 to 10 on the green, and you're catching away on that, and you start getting a few bigger fish. And all you got to do then is just whip the rig off that kit, pick up your one on the 10 to 12, pop it on there, and back over the same spot again, using your marker like you've seen in the videos. It's absolutely perfect for that as well. So it just means that you've got that versatility on the bank, which is really, really important. There we go. That is your ultimate guide to winter elastic choice. I hope it's really useful for you. That's why I do the videos. And if you like it, please remember to hit the thumb button and subscribe to the channel, which is completely free. And then you'll get notifications for whenever we launch anything new. Tune in next in the series for the ultimate guide, and I'll see you hopefully on the bank when it's a bit more warmer very, very soon. Take care.